A wave of nationwide protests demanding stricter immigration control is sweeping across the country. Activists argue that undocumented immigrants are exacerbating crime and unemployment and are placing an unmanageable burden on the state. Joining the call is ActionSA, a party that has long prioritized immigration reform. With us is Zwakele Mncwango, ActionSA's provincial leader in KZN, to discuss recent protests and the party's position on border control. Zwakele, I appreciate your time this afternoon. Can you outline ActionSA's primary motivation for joining the protests and what outcomes you hope to achieve?
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Hugo, and the viewers at home. Yeah, indeed. It's well known that ActionSA has been fighting for South Africans, and we believe that this country must be protected, especially by those who are patriotic, because all we need right now is patriotism and also political will to deal with the issue of illegal immigration. And we've been clear in our message that we are not against anyone who come in this country legally so, and who come actually assist us in terms of growing our economy and create more jobs. But what we can't accept a continuous problem where you've got illegal foreigners looting around our country, some of them even committing crimes because they know you can't trace them. But what is more problematic is when government is doing nothing about the problem. Hence, as ActionSA, we are now joining these private or independent individuals who are organizing this fight against illegal immigration in our country. We are just calling for government to listen to South Africans and also protect us. It can't be acceptable, Hugo, that you go around major cities, even rural areas now. There are areas where you find foreigners, and most of them are illegal foreigners, and some of them are running businesses. By the way, where you've got the Act, our Immigration Act, is clearly stating who must able to run a business, who can be employed, and it's a criminal for anyone to be in this country and doesn't have documents. So the question is why government is reluctant to enforce our laws. And I must state this, Hugo, we are not xenophobic. We don't hate nationals from other countries. We love our country. So we can't then be labeled as being xenophobic when we ask government to enforce our Immigration Act because we've got laws in this country.
Now, how do you align your values as ActionSA to the values of some of those organizations that are going out and in advocating for the issues that we're speaking out today to ensure, obviously, alignment as a national political party?
I think, first of all, what we need to look at as ActionSA, we normally check this. When you fight the issue of illegal immigration and putting our country first, we must do that within our laws of this country. We will never support anyone who wants to use violence to address the problem. However, unfortunately, people are getting angry day by day because our leaders are not prepared to listen. I'll make an example, Hugo. ActionSA, since we've been in Parliament now, we are able to put questions in Parliament, and a lot get revealed. We were able to put a question through the Member of Parliament, Dr. Letap of ActionSA. The question was, how many foreigners are working for our government? And the response from the Minister of Public Services was shocking because it came back saying there's about 6,222 foreigners working for our own government. Now, how can you explain that in a country where you've got high unemployment rate, where you've got graduates sitting at home unemployed? Now, you'll find that even some of these jobs that are occupied by foreigners are not really scarce skills. It's not because these are scarce skills, because if you look at education, for example, and health, there are major problematic departments where you've got foreigners working in those departments. Even justice system, you still have our courts employing foreigners. Hence, we have this problem where you find that most of the time, legal foreigners are being protected because even the system itself doesn't favor South Africans. That is why we are saying we are calling for government to at least put South Africa first, because end of the day, we are suffering as South Africans. And I also must say, Hugo, something that the country must look at, in fact, members of parliament, is an issue of a constitution. There is a need to amend some section of the constitution. For example, Hugo, there's a section that says everyone have a right to healthcare system, have a right to education, have a right to social security. Now, there's a problem. When you are saying everyone, it then means even those undocumented have a right to go to our clinics, hospitals, and get healthcare system, while South Africans will be left behind, because in the hospital, you'll find that there's shortage of medication, no beds, and these beds are occupied by illegal foreigners and medicine taken by illegal foreigners. So we are saying there's a need to amend the constitution. The constitution must protect South Africans. At least must say citizens have a right to a healthcare system, have a right to education, because these rights are extended to even illegal and undocumented foreigners. That is why we're saying Parliament must do its work, and as ActionSA will keep pushing in ensuring that where there's a need to amend the constitution, it's amended just to protect South Africans.
So I'd like to get your opinion on foreign nationals that come into South Africa legally, of course, with children who are, some are teenagers, some are younger, and then go through the system, right? They go to university, they go to tertiary institutions, their parents have relocated, but for all intents and purposes, they remain foreign. Are they not entitled to the same rights, and as far as employment is concerned?
Look, remember, in the main, we are concerned about illegal immigration. But at the same time, even if you are a legal foreigner, so meaning, because just a foreigner is a person who got documents, who meet all the requirements in terms of the Immigration Act to have documents to be in this country. But there are conditions as well, because when you come to this country and apply for a job, it must talk to the issue of scarce skills. So this is why when you employ a foreigner, you must be able to prove that there's skill shortages that you needed. Example, business as well. It's one reason the Act referred to the Minister of Home Affairs consulting with a Minister of Trade Industries. When someone apply to trade in this country, it specifically says a person must invest a minimum of 5 million rand. Hence, as ActionSA, we are saying we don't believe that it's constitutional and within the laws to allow foreigners, legal or illegal, to run spaza shops, because that's not an industry where you can say you are actually investing more than 5 million rand. Hence, we are putting an amendment saying we must amend the Act where we are saying 100% of local economy must be occupied by locals. Because if we continue the way we're doing now, it means South Africans will end up watching foreigners taking over the economy of this country, while we have such high unemployment rate and so many South Africans relying on social grants. And the only way to release someone from social grants is only when you give them opportunities. And all we are saying is we can't say the legal opportunity we have is given to foreigners. But end of the day, we understand when someone is here legally and they've got documents. But if you look at business, example, going back to business, the clause in the Constitution says, it talks about citizens. Citizens have a right to trade in this country. That clause doesn't apply to everyone because there are conditions when it comes to a foreigner. But citizens, all of them have a rights. But when it comes to health care and education and social security, it doesn't say citizens, it says everyone. That's where the problem is. But we understand that some are here because of refugee status, and those who are here but they must have documents. End of the day, have documents. And also, because the problem is, we have a problem of crime. We can't trace some of these criminals. Some are selling drugs. Some are even committing serious crimes because they know you can't even follow their fingerprints. Why? Because they've got no documentation in this country. Home Affairs doesn't even know them. But by the way, they are putting such a burden on our systems. Talk about education, health, social security. You can't afford to really support individuals. You don't even know how many of them. So at the moment, we can only count foreigners who have documentation, but we can't count those who got no documents. That's the problem. Hence, we are saying, let's tighten our borders. Let's make sure that not just anyone cross the border and come to this country, but also immigration officers must do their job. Police must do their job. Army must do their job, because all these departments must really ensure that we protect the sovereignty of this country. But other than that, we'll find ourselves being at risk, because you can't have so many people in your country. You don't even know their identity. You don't even know where they are. But at the end of the day, hence we are saying there's an issue of political will, Hugo, because there are many buildings, can be Durban, Cape Town, Johannesburg, that are known to be hijacked by foreigners. But our leadership are doing nothing about these things. Why you'll find that the president is so quiet on this issue? This is a pandemic, and all I must say is, the reason why we support this march, we also believe that South Africans must stand together, because politicians clearly are not interested to deal with this pandemic. But look at apartheid. It was not ended by politicians. It was ended by South Africans who came together as a community and fought against apartheid. Even now, we are calling for everyone who love this country to come together, put aside politics, put aside your interest. Let's put the country forward, because generations to come will blame us to say we sold this country. And currently, Hugo, we are selling this country. If we are not waking up, we'll find ourselves, our kids, our grandkids, not having any space to really to perform economy, to do anything, to even get a job, because everything will be occupied by foreigners.
That's where we leave that conversation. Zwakele Mncwango, as always, great to speak to you, and is the ActionSA KZN leader speaking out around illegal immigration.